In today's video, we're going to talk about this crazy Pokemon card market. We're going through the best-selling items on TCG Player, as we do every week. Subscribe so you don't miss any of that. We're going to jump right into it with the craziness that is Mega Evolution's enhanced booster boxes. And this might get a little bit spicy because this Pokemon card market is absolutely crazy. So some of the things I say might not be in agreement with some of your favorite Pokemon YouTubers, and that's all right, because as I've said many times on this channel, all this channel is, it's not trying to influence you one way or the other. It's just giving you my thoughts of what I am doing specifically. Serve as a time capsule to look back on, to have some fun, see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. But this box right here, Mega Evolution's enhanced booster box for $317 market price before release, is absolutely crazy. And we see it came down to a low about $232 and then spiked like crazy to $315. I'm personally not buying into this hype. First off, I don't even think Mega Evolution is that amazing of a set. It's got a few chase cards that I'm opening, but like nothing that I'm going to go out of my way to try to buy later on down the road. It's just a few cards that I'll be happy with pulling if I get them. Personally, I love gold cards in general. I have, go back to this channel, ever since Sword and Shield gold cards. I love those ones, specifically if they had a shiny Pokemon. So I'm excited for these gold cards, but people are treating them like they're this amazing new concept when we had gold alt arts in the Galarian Gallery, and those aren't going nearly as crazy as these cards are. Is Lucario and Gardevoir just that popular of a Pokemon? They're more popular than Giratina and Arceus? I don't know. I don't think so. Personally, I'm not buying into the hype on this one. As you know, if you watch this channel, I bought two of these boxes, one at $250 from Football Pete on eBay to hold in my personal collection, and one from Game Nerds I got at $250 again, but I used a $75 off coupon that I had accumulated over the years. And so that one would be the one that I hold for investment purposes. When you can get $75 off market, that just makes sense. But you're looking at people who are getting this wholesale at $100 or whatever they're paying per box, selling it for $300. Dan Ketchum Collectibles says it all the time. We're playing in the same game in different arenas. I just can't compete with that if I don't have wholesale access. And that's great for them. I never wanted to go the wholesale route because I didn't want the risk associated with having to put up that much capital, getting stale products, stuff like that. So they are getting handsomely rewarded for the risk they took, whereas I didn't want to take that risk. So now when a Mega Evolutions box, the only option for me is to buy it at $300 on the market and hope it goes up. That's just not a risk I'm personally willing to take. I'm pretty risk adverse. If you watch this channel, you know. Investing in Pokemon cards is already risky enough. I don't need to be buying booster boxes before they release at 2 times MSRP, holding them for 2 years and hoping they go up. But when you look at this new market, I mean, Destin Rivals at $458 for a booster box. And these are 6-month-old set, which is absolutely insane. We look at sales right around $423, $479, $456. But I personally think Destin Rivals is a much better set than Mega Evolutions, in my opinion. I just love the flavor of Team Rocket. I know there's not dark Pokemon, but there's Team Rocket Pokemon. I think there's some amazing hits in this set, like the Mewtwo, the Ho-Oh, the Moltres are all top tier cards in my opinion. But at $400, I'm not buying this box either. I have 4 boxes of this that I bought at $225, and I'm not touching this anymore. So you can see my investing strategy did change. I mean, starting off, I was buying boxes at $80, $90 to $100, and now here we're in a new era, and it might be the new era going forward to have to pay more than $150, $200 for a booster box. I just don't think that number's $300 like we're seeing with Mega Evolutions, or $400 like we're seeing with Destined Rivals. I think at some point people are going to stop buying these for investment purposes or ripping shippers to buy it. I think people will stop buying $10, $12 booster packs on release to rip if they can't get something of value out of it. The flip side of that is Nostalgianomics' most recent video talking about the value of the hits in these boxes keeps going up too, so it just makes sense for people to rip. People are buying a $10 pack in hopes to hit a $500 Mewtwo, so I don't know, maybe it won't change. Maybe it's just this way going forward. But that $200 to $250 range is my sweet spot. If it gets above that, I'm not chasing until I see more data points to suggest that this is the new norm going forward. But right now, I'm still being very cautious on these new boxes. Again, I bought these at $225, Mega Evolutions at $250, and that's kind of my price point going forward. It'll be interesting to see Phantasmal Flames going forward because it's such a cool set with Charizard and all that. However, I don't think there's a Gengar SIR in it. It is a very small set, just like Obsidian Flame, so we'll see if that one continues out of the gate strong like Mega Evolutions has, or if it comes down because it's such a small set with only a few Charizard chases. You know, I don't think anyone's going to be chasing the Oricorio card out of Phantasmal Flames, but we'll kind of see how that box goes. Again, I will be looking to pre-order that at $200 to $250 again. I wouldn't be paying $300 for that box, but kind of we'll see where it goes from here. Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles at $60. I think those are fine buy if you can find these, especially if you can find them locally. I do think there's a chance these keep getting reprinted and come down to maybe $50, but I think these are pretty safe. But again, the problem is you're still paying 2 times MSRP for these, so that's just the market that we're in right now. But I personally think Prismatic Evolutions, go back and watch my video on Prismatic Evolutions, I still think this is a very good set that people are going to chase long term, because like I was saying in Destiny Rivals, there's such a big chance to hit either that God Pack, Demigod Pack. The set value in this set is just crazy, so people will continue to chase this set long term, even if they have to pay $10 a booster pack. But I think booster pack prices on these will continue to come down, which might bring these down, which might be a buying opportunity. Same things with Prismatic Evolutions, Elite Trainer Box. First off, if you can find these at MSRP anywhere, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Even if these do come all the way down to MSRP, which I don't necessarily think they will, that's still a super safe bet. You might just be holding on to them for a long time because of the print runs and all that stuff. But I personally am buying these. I was buying them all the way down to $80, buying them all the way up here to $120. I'm buying about one a week to try to stay with it, or if I make a big sale on eBay and have a little extra funds, I'll put those towards the Prismatic ETBs, because I think going forward, those will perform very similar to 151. I do think 151 is a better set, but I think this will follow right behind it just because of all the chase cards inside of it. The Umbreon cards, both the Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies and the Umbreon EX from Prismatic Evolutions, they both had a bump recently. We saw this in one of my market research videos where we saw this buyout kind of happening live, which was fun to see, but now it looks like it's stalled out at around $2,146, which is absolutely crazy. But it looks like the most recent sale today is the 23rd, and the most recent sale on this was the 21st, and then the 19th before that. So they're not really selling above this 2,000 mark very often, but you are seeing it hold up here. I mean, it was just $1,300 not even a month ago, so to see it pop up and then hold the $2,000 mark would be good to see, which is a lot of times how it happens, honestly, with these big cards. But we'll see if people start bringing these to market or if people keep holding this diamond hands. Umbreon EX from Prismatic Evolutions. This is another one that had a pump, but I personally, as I mentioned last time, think this is a little bit of a pump fake. Looks like most recent sales was $1,150. The one before that was $900. So kind of all over the place with prices on these. Lowest list looks like $1,155. So crazy prices on this thing, but I personally think this card will keep coming down. They're going to keep releasing those big boxes at Sam's Club and Costco's and all that have the 14 booster packs of Prismatic Evolutions. People are going to keep opening that, and I think that'll keep bringing those single prices down on these. But Nostalgianomics and people have been trying to pump this card, saying that the low Gem Mint 10 rate will cause this to go up, which makes sense as long as the Gem Mint 10 stays high priced, and right now it really is. So as long as we're in this market, people keep buying these cards, I could see near mint copies staying high, but again, me personally, I'm not buying this. And that's what's funny. You're going to ask me, Perishable, what are you buying? You said no to everything except Prismatic. And that's kind of it. In this market, you have to be okay sometimes missing out on things if you're not willing to take the risk. And that's my personal thing. The risk on some of these isn't worth the reward necessarily. And you can make the argument that it is worth the reward because no booster box has gone down, blah, blah, blah. Anything you invested in Pokemon's done well. But it's just, in my opinion, these two boxes are very hot out the gate. And I could see them coming down, especially when we've had a market as hot as we've had. It's been, around almost 12 months of this market since Surging Sparks came out last year that it's been hot like this. So, it could last 12 months longer and you'd be sitting pretty if you bought these now. But that's just not a risk that I'm personally willing to take. In fact, my overall strategy going forward, probably through the end of the year, I've been trying to grade cards like crazy to get ready for Christmas time and all that stuff. I'm probably going to be selling out of a lot of that stuff come Christmas and holiday season because that'll be the perfect time to start offloading some of these. I'll probably take out more money. This was a goal at the beginning of the year that I had, and my priorities kind of shifted when I saw the market doing what it's doing. I stopped selling as much as I had because everything seemed to be doubling overnight. So at the end of the year, I might try to take out more money than I put into Pokemon so that I can have my collection essentially at zero cost basis. So I might make that my goal here for the end of the year while the market is still doing what it's doing. So me personally, I might make that switch to be seller over buyer here towards the end of the year, and that's why most of these things are a pass. And if I miss these and Destiny Rivals is $1,000, Mega Evolutions is $500 this time next year, then so be it. I've got my small positions that I'll hold and I'll be happy to have those for sure. But as with anything, I'm not going all in. I've got a little bit here and there, doing it in a risk adverse way to set me up for success long term in both this hobby and my finances in general. 151 booster bundles at $95. These are great. If you don't have any of these, I would be buying some of these for sure. But again, you should have been buying these when they were $45, not now that they're $95. Yeah, last sale 96, 90, 89. So these are still doing very well. If you don't have a position of these, 151 is the GOAT of Scarlet and Violet, so I would be picking up these, especially now that it's over 2 years old. Very unlikely they're going to be printing more of these. You might get a trickle here and there that show up in vending machines or at Walmarts and stuff like that just because of backstock. They printed this like crazy, so I'm sure there's going to be stock that shows up for a little while, but nothing really huge or nothing in bulk that's going to drive the prices down like crazy, I don't think. So this seems pretty safe if you don't have a position in this. Me personally, I do have a pretty big position in these and bought them all at MSRP, again, 2 years ago. I'm not looking to add here, but if you don't have any of these, I would say this is a good pickup. Charizard EX 151 cards are still doing pretty good, but if you look at the month chart, it looks like they're starting, well, I was going to say they're starting to stall off a little bit, but they're up 42% on the month, but that was the run to 200 to 300. Since it's hit 300, it's kind of stalled out. It's about $310 now. Market price of 307 with sales 297, 329, 310, 325. So really all over the place on sales here, but pretty comfortably right around that $300 mark. But again, that's seems to be leveling off, which is good to see. Again, kind of like the Umbreon we saw. It's not coming straight back down to the $200 mark where it was. So again, I'm not picking these up, but I do have some of these out to grading at PSA. If those come back at 10, I already have one of these in a 10 in my personal collection I'm holding on to. So if I do get any more 10s, I'll sell that into the market, buy another raw copy. Even if it's $300, I'd buy another one just to do the grading play again, because that can still make sense. So that's my thought on these high-flying 151 singles. The Prismatic Evolutions, Lucario, and Tyranitar Premium Collection, I still think this is a very good box. In my opinion, I'd rather have the Prismatic Evolutions ETB while it's still cheap. However, this will be the Blooming Waters of Prismatic Evolutions, and I was buying Blooming Waters like crazy. When those are down to $100 or so, which this is, showing a market price of $110, but it comes with 14 booster packs, so that's under $10 a pack for Prismatic, which is pretty darn good. In my opinion, these boxes are too big to store. I hate storing those, so I just open them, keep the loose packs in one of those 5-row boxes, and it's great. I mean, they can hold 500 packs each, so it's really easy to store loose packs, and I haven't had a problem selling. Again, I sell on eBay, have good feedback rating, have a history of selling loose packs that aren't weighed or tampered with or anything like that, so people can trust me in my selling platform. So I'm totally fine with breaking these down, especially if they're cheap enough, which they're getting pretty close. Again, the more and more these get printed, I do expect these to be printed for a while. It seems like Pokemon's telling us they're going to keep printing these collection boxes going forward rather than ETBs and booster boxes. Once the Prismatic ETBs can kind of get away from us at probably 150 plus, I'll start switching and move into these more. Again, I'm not necessarily about how high can this go, but how much further down can this go. That's just kind of why I'm risk adverse and not about chasing other products after they've already ran. I'd rather focus my money on something else down here at the $100 mark that can have those gains going forward. And I know I'm not going to lose my shirt on it. And I guess one more point on booster boxes I'll kind of mention as we look at Evolving Skies here. It is possible that going forward, I'm totally wrong and these boxes are $500 plus out the gate and then just stay there forever. And it becomes sort of like the premium collector product. Just like Collector's booster box in Magic the Gathering is the premium collector product. I mean, the Final Fantasy booster boxes at like $1,100, $1,200 or something like that, which is crazy. And it might be that people just buy booster boxes to collect, and they're, that premium product that doesn't get opened. And in which case, if they don't reprint them, if they just do reprints of collection boxes and these things, and the booster boxes only have one wave or a small wave too that, is then upcharged at distribution, that might make sense to go forward, buy those at, $300 out the gate. But again, until we see more data of that, I'm not necessarily jumping in with both feet. It's your money, do what you want with it. We all place our bets in this game of life based on where we see fit, based on risk reward tolerance and all that. So I'm certainly not going to tell you not to invest in booster boxes. It might work out way more for you, and you're going to be compensated for that risk with reward potentially, but I'm just not taking that risk as far as buying any crazy amounts of booster boxes going forward. Charizard EX Ultra Premium Collection, we'll talk about this just because it's something I haven't talked about on the channel. This is personally something that I really want. As a big Charizard fan, obviously, I want one of these to open for Christmas. I would love to have this under the tree. This will just make for a really fun Christmas opening experience. So it is good news. It looks like there's rumors out there of this being printed. I don't know how true those are. I don't even know how to fact check people or anything like that. But the rumors are this has been printed pretty well, so it should come down a little bit. Again, my price on this would probably be $200. That's what I actually pre-ordered the Charizard UPC at. And, it came all the way down to like $80 eventually. But for me personally, I opened the one that I bought for $200, bought a few down at $80, and then I eventually sold it for like $400, $500 that it is right now. So, you know, it washes out in the end essentially, but I just want to make sure that I secure one. But again, at $300, I'm not going to buy this for $300. I'll just buy the promos for way less. And then if it keeps going, it keeps going. But for me personally, about $200, if I can't secure pre-orders, what I would be looking to pay on this. But I'm hopeful that they printed enough of these and that they're pumping out these at a high rate that it brings their price down even further below $200. That would be nice. Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes. These continue to go crazy. It seems like all of them are going crazy. And let me know in the comments what you think. These are probably going to be on I was mentioning what I'm going to be trying to sell here before the end of Christmas. The Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes, specifically for the lesser sets like Twilight Masquerade, Paradox Rift, all those. Those are probably on my short list of chopping block to sell off while the market's still hot. I mean, if you look at the black and white booster boxes, those are like, or Elite Trainer boxes, those are like $200 for the Pokemon Center exclusive ones. And I think that's crazy. I mean, they could get reprinted very easily. Really anything from Prismatic Evolutions on. I think they reprinted Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. That's such a mouthful. I have to say that like 10 times this video. They reprinted those like 4 times, so there's definitely a chance that they print Destined Rivals, black and white. So I might look to offload some of those, but again, let me know in the comments what you think. They're such an exclusive product. I've been saying my love for these since they were very first announced with the exclusive promo card about how good they are. So it's tough to let them go because I do think they are a very good product, but they've run so far so fast that it just makes sense to take some money off the table with those. And they're just so easy to move right now. Just, you don't know in the future if they're going to continue to be as liquid as they are now, but it seems to be no indication why they wouldn't be. Surging Sparks booster boxes are making a little bit of a move. They're about $268 is the market value on this. It's been steadily marching up. Looks like I last sold for $309, but then before that, $275, $240, $309. So this one really is all over the place. But again, I still feel comfortable with this at $250. I just like that $250 mark. It feels pretty safe to me, especially for Surging Sparks, which seems to be the 3rd or 4th best set of the era, depending on, you know, your opinion and all that. But I personally love Surging Sparks. I think it's got a lot going for it. Very good set. But again, it always comes back to Vivid Voltage. I mean, Vivid Voltage was the set going forward. I've got my nephew's Pokemon card collection that he wants me to sell. And the grail card of his collection is the Rainbow Pikachu. And they were talking about how they got it for him for $200. And they were like, oh, so how much money can we get out of it now? And I'm like, well, it's probably only worth like $140, $150 now, which is hard for them to believe because it's been 3 years and Pokemon's doing crazy things. And that Pikachu card was the hotness at the time. And so it's hard to fathom right now anything being better than Surging Sparks, a Pikachu better than the Bootychu coming out. But Pokemon will keep printing better cards. And as people always joke about, the next set is the best set in Pokemon. That has been so true lately, that they will come out with better sets. And when they come out with better sets, will people want the Surging Sparks anymore? Will people want the Pikachu anymore? So it's just one of those things you have to be careful with. I bought one of these boxes last month at $250, so I'm holding the few that I have, but again, not going all in at this $250 mark or $300 mark that it is now. And I'm sorry this video got a little ranty. Let me know if you like in the comments if you like these kind of rant style videos, or if you're going to tell me to put the Pokemon cards in the bag and just keep looking at prices and letting you guys know how much your investments have gone up this month, because there really is no stopping this Pokemon card market right now. I keep looking for signs of slowdown and stagnation, and there really isn't any. I mean, everything you look at, anything I mentioned was a buy, is going up like crazy. So this market is officially insane. The Charizard UPC, $450 last sale, $450, $479, $470. So that might be coming down a little bit. It was at $470. Now it's down to $450. Market price of $436 though, so those sales prices are still above. Looks like there are some listed, but it's not reputable sellers. The first reputable seller is $478.99. So these are continuing to do very well, like I was mentioning earlier. The 151 booster displays, this chart is bored, but when you look at the actual sales, $17.99, $17.50, $15. So it looks like these are still on the rise. I think they had those one sales way back when of like $1,900, but since all those have went away, it looks like we've got, yeah, so unverified sellers for $16.49, and then the first verified seller for $1,800. So these continue to just march up a little bit, showing a market price of $14.40 now. but the most recent sales are much higher than that. The Mew EX from Paldean Fates, we'll take a look at this. This, as we mentioned last week, this one stalled out a little bit. It hit 700 and couldn't keep up the momentum. People were bringing more copies to the market at $700, and they just announced that new Paldean Fates collection box. That's a big box with like 11 packs in it. That might bring this pack or this card price down a little bit too, as those roll out to Sam's Clubs, Costco's, and people start opening those. So not surprising to see this hit resistance and come down a little bit. Again, normally what they do is they'll run up from $300 up to $700, then they'll find some baseline here between $450 and $550. But we'll see if those big collection boxes have any sort of impact on that card going forward. Destin Rivals booster bundles, I still like these. Market price is going up. It's $52 now, which again, cheaper per pack than some other options. I personally bought a case of these from Hills Wholesale Gaming last month just to see what that process looked like using their website. That all went well, so I'm happy to have those. Surging Sparks ETBs at 75 bucks. Again, I don't love investing in ETBs. Again, something like Vivid Voltage, look at that ETB, which is like 4 years old, and it's only worth 75 bucks, the same as a normal Surging Sparks Elite Trainer box. So that's the only problem with investing in ETBs. But if you're looking for something to open, as I mentioned, it's like the third or fourth best set in the entire era for only $75, which is a little bit above MSRP. I think that's a good play, especially if you're looking for like Christmas presents. If you're starting that process, starting to buy those early, I think that makes a lot of sense to buy Surging Sparks if you can find it, especially at 75 bucks. 151 booster packs. These are the ones I was mentioning, screaming buy. This was my all last month. I was buying these at $10 to $12 a pack. Now that it looks like market price of $16.21 is pretty crazy considering how quickly this has gone up. Again, I mentioned that we would blink and one day these would be $15 to $20, and already here they are, 15. Do we see 20 by the end of the year? Probably, honestly, with the way this is running, with the way the market's going. So I'm not buying any more at $16. Again, I've made my position earlier, so I'm not going to chase into it in dollar cost up. But again, if you don't have any, I don't think this is a terrible buy at $15, especially when the tiers of packs, it really goes like the $5 base levels, then they'll go up to $10. They'll hang around 15, then they'll make a jump up to 30 if you look at like Hidden Fates and all those, and then they'll make another jump to like 50 if you're in the real big category. So I'm not saying 151's going to $50 before the end of the year. However, I do think in 4 or 5 years we could see $50 151 packs. Again, I just pulled that number out of my butt, obviously, as most Pokemon YouTubers do. I know there's a lot of people sitting on a lot of 151, so maybe they don't, but it is the most iconic set of the entire era. And again, put my money where my mouth is. I'm not buying more at 15 hoping they go to 50, but I bought a ton at 10 hoping they go up to 20, and that's, you know, doubling your money pretty quick. So we'll keep an eye on these. I still think these are going very well. I could definitely see 20 before the end of the year. And we'll start speed running a little bit. The Snorlax 151 promo card, this at only $20 still makes sense to me. I still think this is a very good buy, especially because the 151 Elite Trainer boxes are so expensive. I mean, it's like $400, so to see this at $20 is still a pretty decent pickup. Lost Origin booster boxes, again, if you don't have this, actually this would be the one Sword and Shield set I would say is probably maybe a little bit undervalued. It's had some crazy price spikes over the years, and I could see this having another one. So it went, this is crazy, you know, look at the 1 month chart, it's up 278%, but it's had a bunch of these little spikes here, and each time it stays at that previous level and then makes another leg up. And I could see this definitely making another leg up with Fusion Strike doing what it's doing. I think this is a comparable set to Fusion Strike. I would say it's probably a little bit less just because there's less chase in this. This is a much better opening experience, but as we've learned, people don't care about opening experience, it seems like. They just want that big chase card. And with Gengar, Mew, Espeon in Fusion Strike, that's kind of carrying this, where there's only the Giratina and Aerodactyl in this set, really. You know, the trainer gallery is beautiful. I love the Pikachu trainer galleries in this, but it's just not a big enough chase to get people to open it. I could definitely see this box going up. So if you've got deep pockets, this would be one of the areas I would look to invest in for sure. Charizard, we're only on page 3, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4 Charizards in a row. Charizard's continuing to do well. We'll see if that, again, continues with the Phantasmal Flames hype, or if it dies down a little bit, because that set seems to be top heavy as well with only the Charizards. So we'll kind of see how these play out, if they start to come down or stagnate, if people get bored of Phantasmal Flames, or if they keep going up in anticipation of it. So a lot of raw cards on the 3rd page, and honestly, most of these I'm skipping out on. I'm not buying these for grading plays. Again, I like to find grading plays before they've popped off, so I would be looking at cards in the like 11 to 20 range And I can do a whole video on that if you like. Let me know in the comments if that's something you guys would be interested in. But Silver Tempest at 488 and Paldea Evolved at 469. So interesting seeing these two next to each other. In my personal opinion, I would rather have Silver Tempest booster box at this price just because it's an older set, and I think that Lugia card will be a much better chase long term than the Magikarp. I do think the Magikarp is a beautiful card, but at only an art rare, you pull 3 art rares per box from Paldea Evolved, whereas alternate arts are harder to find in Silver Tempest, and there's 4 alternate arts in the set, so even less chance you're going to get Lugia. I personally would rather have Silver Tempest over Paldea Evolved. However, again, I'm not buying either of these at this price. And again, we talk about Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals being the same price as these two is absolutely crazy. I think Destined Rivals might be a better set than both of these two, to be honest, but because it's so new, I'm just not willing to buy, $500 booster box right out of the gate. That's crazy to me still. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Silver Tempest Lugia at $432. That's still going crazy, which is wild to see. Charizard EX from Paldean Fates, $312, which is still up. But again, I could see that coming down with the reprints of those big boxes coming out. The Eevee promo card from Prismatic Evolutions ETB. I really, really like this card as a promo card. I think this will do very well. I think you're very safe buying into this. I will see this going up as Prismatic starts to rotate out, as ETBs get opened less, as they get printed less, as Pokemon Company makes that shift into getting Prismatic Evolutions loose packs, which are now $847 market value, which is real close to the MSRP number. I think they could get it there with those big Sam's Club collection boxes they're going to be pushing out, and I think they might shift away from the ETBs, which means less of these EV cards. So I love that EV card going forward. In my personal opinion, for the $10 tier, I think that is one of the best plays you can make. $10. 151 Elite Trainer box, again, $400 on this. We'll just click on it real quick just to see what it's. Feels like it's been at $400 for a little bit. Looks like September 11th is when it first hit $400. September 9th, it was $396, and then it's just been sideways ever since. So it'll be interesting to see if and when this one makes another leg up, or if this comes down because of who's actually opening this at $400 when you just get 9 to 10 booster packs inside and a $20 promo. So this has just become a collector's item on its own, and if collectors ever start selling this to fund different things, you could see the price come down on this. But looks like it's just staying stagnant for a little while, and we'll see if and when it takes its next leg up. Zapdos EX from 151, finally getting some love that I was talking about. This card, I absolutely love it. My favorite card on 151. It looks like it stagnated a little bit. It had a huge push up to $90. Now it's sitting right there at around $93.36 market price, with the recent sales right in that $90 mark. I'm personally holding the cards that I do have of this, the non-gradable copies. Normally I would just try to turn and burn them just to get my money back out of them, but for this card specifically, I'm holding on to this. I could see this doing something real special going forward. I just love that card so much personally. I have a lot of faith in it. Fusion Strike booster box, we'll look at this. Again, it's not anything I'm buying. I'm just holding the one box I have, but it did break $1,000 with the recent sales of $1,044, $1,050, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. With this continuing its march up, I could see Lost Origin following its footsteps and following right behind it to the $900 to the $1,000 mark. I do think it'll probably be that order going forward: Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, in that order. But I think Fusion Strike and Lost Origin will continue to move in tandem and be pretty close to each other realistically. Page 5, I think we see our first Crown Zenith cards. We see the Giratina Secret Rare and the Pikachu Secret Rare from Crown Zenith. And again, you talk about the gold cards from Mega Evolutions being the next hottest thing. While this card is an alternate art gold card of a legendary Pokemon, it was down to $95 1 year ago. So when you see these gold cards coming out of the gate as hot as they are, I would, again, be weary of those. My personal opinion, if I'm pulling those, even though I love gold cards, I would be selling into this market, hoping that I can buy them in cheaper later. Because in my opinion, I do think they'll come down eventually. However, on the fact of Giratina, I do think Crown Zenith cards in general are being slept on right now a little bit. People are focusing on 151 so much. Crown Zenith is just a little bit older and has some amazing arts in it on its own. So these are the cards I'm picking up for grading, actually. The Pikachu Secret Rare, the Giratina Secret Rare. Any of these cards, Crown Zenith grades pretty well. So I am picking up a lot of these cards and just trying to grade them and flip them as fast as I can. PSA 10 prices of these are doing pretty well too. So these still make sense to pick up with the grading plays doing what they're doing. With Crown Zenith being a little bit under the radar right now. The Misty Psyduck doing what I knew it would do. This is why I picked this up for my Destined Rivals Master Set first out the gate when it was at $55, because, it's showing a market price now of $68, which I think this is just going up from here. It looks like most recent sales, 80, 75, 80. I mean, it's got Misty, it's got Psyduck, swimming in the water. Pokemon does water really well. There's no reason this card won't be one of the top art rares in the era, so I think it'll do very well. If it comes down, honestly, with more reprints of Destined Rivals, I should look into grading this card. But at $95, that's just a lot to be spending on one grading play. Again, when you could get like 10 EVs for that price, it's just, I'd rather have the EVs. I'd rather spread it out a little bit. The Articuno, this is still my favorite art rare of the era, maybe. Magikarp's sweet, but I do really love this Articuno. And it is finally starting to get some love. It's up 26% in the last 3 months, and up again at 26% in the last month as well. Most recent sales of $19.99, $24.99, $22.80, so anywhere between $19 and $25. I still like picking these up at around $19 to $25, and I am personally. In fact, if I find them on eBay I found PSA 9s for $20, which is the price to grade it itself, not even including that's what it is raw. So I've been picking these up in PSA 9s at $20, and then I've just been picking them up on TCG Player for $20. Obviously, the gradable ones I would send off to be graded, but this Greninja EX is one of my favorite cards of the era, and I had been grading these forever. And this one's interesting to me because it's showing obviously up almost 100% in the last 3 months, which is crazy, but only up 16% in the last month, and it's really been stagnant since September 1st when it was $63, and now we're looking at a market price of still $64. So honestly, I don't mind picking up this card if you're looking to spend a little bit more money. It's a promo card. They're not printing more of these boxes, in my opinion. They definitely might, but they're not flooding the shelves with these. They're flooding the shelves with the other collection boxes. So in my opinion, I still think this is one of the best arts in the whole era, and I'm so happy it got printed as a promo card. So in my personal opinion, $70 on this isn't bad. I might start looking to pick some more of these up, especially if I can find gradable copies, because I think they'll do very well long term. Pikachu with the Great Felt Hat above $500. Is this card ever going to stop going up? Absolutely crazy to me. This was a free card, by the way. Most recent sales, $6.99, $6.99, $6.99. So I don't know if someone's trying to manipulate this, but when you look at the, oh my gosh, TCG Player, lowest list at $750, but then from there it goes $789, $799, $884. So, I mean, this is crazy. This is like 10 copies away from being a $1,000 card, which is just absolutely insane. And that's just near mint raw. So as long as the PSA 10 prices continue to go up, the raw price will continue to go up because these grade pretty easily. So people are just buying them raw, grading them, and selling them to the people that want it. But I mean, it's just crazy. If you're buying this in a Gem Mint 10, again, I'm a seller of this card. I sold this in a PSA 10 at $1,000. I'm happy. I've got one PSA 10 left I'll carry, just because I've got my cost basis out of it. But $2,500 for these in a PSA 10, $500 to $1,000 raw is absolutely insane. This market is exactly why I'm starting to sell into this market. The Celebration Charizard up to $143. Again, this was $100 for the longest time. So this card's up 55% in the last 3 months, but almost all that's been in the last month. It's up 30% from $111 all the way up to $144. And this one is one I'm still buying because I'm still running these plays. These grade pretty well. The PSA 10s are still going crazy. They're going for like $500 now. I was selling these all day for like $200 2 years ago. So to be selling them for $500, even if I have to pay a little bit more, I will definitely take that all day. So interesting to see that. I just want to see this stamped EV promo. I haven't been looking at the stamped cards recently. I still thought these were a really good play because I think they're very easily manipulated, if I want to say that. But I think it's very easy for someone with big pockets to come in and buy a lot of these and move the price up. So I think this is definitely an area of the market I want to be in case anyone with big pockets comes in and starts to buy these out. So I have a few of these that I bought when it was like during the run-up. It was probably $75 where I bought mine. So I'm holding on to mine, but kind of seeing where it's going because people's opinion on those stamps could be very fickle and it could change very quickly. Crown Zenith Elite Trainer Box, $225. I think that's pretty good. Between that and Celebrations at $200, I think both those are really good buys. I would think Crown Zenith would probably do better long term. However, Celebrations will probably do well if you're looking to just flip, because I do think Celebrations will do very well going into the 30th anniversary, which is the beginning of next year. So I think that could do very well. Brilliant Stars booster boxes at $548. Again, I'd rather buy Brilliant Stars at $548 than Destined Rivals at $500. I'm a Charizard homer for sure. Destined Rivals is probably a better set than Brilliant Stars, but Brilliant Stars is so much older. It still has the Charizard Chase. It has the Evolution Trainer Gallery. I think Brilliant Stars has a ton going for it. I think this is clearly the 4th best set of the Sword and Shield era. So again, if you're looking to spend a little bit more money, I think Brilliant Stars is a really good buy right now. I'm personally not buying any more, but holding the ones that I have. This will not be one that I sell going forward because I think this has a lot of room to grow going forward. See the 151 Art Rares Charmander Squirtle. I am starting to buy these again. As 151 starts to go up, I want to have a bunch of these graded and raw going forward because I think they'll do very well long term. Same with the Pikachu. I think that art rare is a little bit probably undervalued at $46, especially with 151 starting to go out of rotation, out of print, all those things. So I'm picking up as many of these as I can with any excess funds. And then let's see anything else jumping out. The Raikou, Crown Zenith, Galarian Gallery. I do like Crown Zenith cards, so I'm buying a bunch of these, but I guess at $40, I'd rather have an art rare from 151 than the Raikou from Crown Zenith, just because of how popular the 151 starters are. I think those are going to be wanted for a long time going forward. And that's really about it. I mean, here we are on page 10. Nothing else really jumping out at me. So I guess this Pikachu here from the Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer box, I think this is a very good promo too. It's got Pikachu, the 3 starters, full art. I think this is a very good card for only $18. So if you're looking at 3 promo cards, I would be buying the Snorlax from 151, the Eevee from Prismatic Evolutions, and this Pikachu. And then for just normal cards, I'd be looking at the Articuno Art Rare. I would be looking at the Gold Charizard from Obsidian Flames. I think that Gold Charizard is still criminally undervalued. People are talking about Phantasmal Flames and how amazing those Gold Charizards look, but like we've got a Gold Charizard and it's $20 from Obsidian Flames. So I'm not sure why people are willing to pay $500, $700 for a Gold Charizard just because it's all gold. It's a little bit different of an artwork. I don't know. It is a unique artwork. It is amazing. I am going to chase it for sure, but I'm not going to be paying $500 for it. I'm definitely going to be patient on that because again, when you look at the Champion's Path Charizard Rainbow Rare was all the rage when it first came out, and now it's spiked up and down. It's as high as $209 earlier in the year. Now it's down to $150. And this is an old set, hard to pull Charizard from a very expensive set. And it was at the time the coolest Charizard, the Charizard to have, and now here it is at only $150. So just with these hot singles, I'm just taking a step back and saying there could be better cards that come out. So I'm being a little bit patient and being a little bit selective with the cards that I buy. But I will say, honorable mention, it's on page 13, so people might not be talking about it. These illustration contest Pikachu cards, only $20 for the card, but you can buy whole packs of these that have the Feraligatr and the Toxtricity and the Pikachu for only like, I think $27 is what I paid for it. I bought some this morning because I graded these in a 10. They grade pretty easily. I got 2 full sets in 10s. Minus 1 for Alligator was a 9, but I sold off one of my sets this morning for $360 for the PSA 10 set. So with that, essentially with that $360, I took and bought, I think 4 more sealed copies to try to make this play again, because I think these illustration contest cards, especially this Pikachu, will do very well. When I was looking online, there's not very many of these in English on the market, and maybe I was just first to market, and that's why PSA prices were so high. But for $20 for a card that you can turn and grade and sell for like $300, $350 on its own, I think this is a very good play and could do very well long term. And on page 13, people might not be talking about it. People are talking about the Big Makachu and all these other Pikachu promos, but this one was from last year or earlier this year is when it finally came out for us. And not too many people are talking about it. So this is one I am keeping an eye on, especially again for $20. I like that $20 card range. That feels very comfortable to me. So I am picking up some of these actively, again, just because of the ones I sold. But that's my thoughts on the market in general. Leave me a comment if you made it this far, a rocket emoji to let me know that the Pokemon market is still booming. I appreciate you guys for watching, or let me know in the comments what sort of content you'd like to see going forward. Should I just jump on the bandwagon and continue to give what's going up content? Should I give my cautious speeches on why you should be cautious in this Pokemon card market? Those videos don't do very well because everyone just wants to hear their stuff's going to go up, up, and up. And I give you guys some of that sometimes. I am in here with you. Trust me, I've got a lot of my net worth invested in Pokemon. It's not the biggest investment that I have. Those are 401ks and all the boring stuff, but take care of that first and then have fun with the Pokemon stuff has been my motto. And it's worked very well for me so far. So that's just my thoughts on everything. I appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Again, like this video if you like the video. Subscribe to my channel for more weekly content like this so that you guys don't have to follow all this market. You can just throw me on at 2x speed, get it done in 30 minutes, call it a day. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day. Peace.